Like, imagine if you had last week, and then this week you said to me, screw it, I don't want my leads. I'm not going to buy extra. I'm not even going to buy the ones that I have. I'm not going to work the appointment setting system. I'm just going to try something different. Screw the leads, screw the appointments, screw the Facebook leads. It was all of those faults. What would this week have looked like if you said that instead of what you did this week?
I don't know. I probably would have started my training at Target. I mean, honestly, if you're not doing the stuff that you need to be doing to succeed in this business, you're going to be looking for another job.
One of the core characteristics of a successful insurance agent is resilience. And over the 8+ years I've spent in this industry, 6 of them in some sort of a building capacity, I've noticed that resilience and tenacity separate the successful and stable agent from the minefield of failed agents behind them. I think some people often wonder, what does it take to separate the average American salary to where you want to be and where many of you are in this industry? I think it's the drive to do no matter what it takes. It's understanding that nothing is perfect, but your responsibility is to make the best of whatever you have, and that you control your fate. Nothing happens to you or against you. You just decide what to do when things happen. In fact, plenty of things have happened to you. You just simply decide what the results of that thing are. So Adam, what are your thoughts before we get into your topic today about the tenacity required, the resilience, and the flexibility that so many people demonstrated this week to put together so much successful production?
Yeah, it's funny, Chris. We didn't even really plan what we were going to be talking about today. And I kind of had the same thing in mind to be talking about, just about resilience and, not letting one day affect you, not letting one bad week affect you, and just kind of looking at the big picture of everything. Because, like I said last week, last week I had a pretty bad week. Uh, I was out 3 days in a row. I think I sat down with like 2 people. Really didn't get a whole lot done. And but I knew that things can turn pretty quickly. And it's just a matter of staying the course, not changing things, doing what works. And sooner or later, things are going to turn around. The odds are always going to be in our favor as long as we do what we know is necessary to succeed when it comes to working our usual schedule, when it comes to ordering leads on a regular basis, and just not changing things, just staying the course. And like I said, one bad week, one bad day, you can't let it affect you. So yeah, I'm sure we'll get into a little bit more about that.
I was thinking for a second here, as off topic as it is. Has anyone here ever seen the movie Apollo 13? It's one of the classics. It was kind of came out when we were all a little bit younger, but the entire ship blew up on them. Like, let's be realistic here. Every possible thing went wrong on their trip to the moon. But what did they do? They showed resilience and tenacity, classic movie, and managed to survive. Now, obviously, your life isn't at risk when you go into the field today. You're not on the way to the moon. Your spaceship isn't going to break up on you. But tenacity and resilience is what separates the successful from the people that fall on the wayside. So Adam, what other thoughts did you want to share, or did you want to go over a few questions or thoughts? What you got for us?
Yeah, like I mentioned, we can talk a little bit further about that. As I mentioned, last week, pretty bad week. Just didn't really get a whole lot accomplished. I don't feel like I did anything different last week. Like I didn't have a whole lot of appointments set, but I was still out there every single day, door knocking leads, doing whatever I could to get in front of people. I wasn't cutting my day short. It was just one of those weeks. And but like I said last week on the call, like I'm going to do everything that I can to assure that I'm going to set up for success this coming week, which would have been this week, because I definitely did not want it to turn into 2 weeks to 3 weeks to 4 weeks, whatever. I didn't think it would anyways, but again, that's all mindset too. I mean, I knew things would turn around. And yeah, this week, the leads from last week that I had ordered, finally more and more started coming in, which was a big help. And then also more direct mail leads started coming in. That helped a little bit as well. So, leads is important, of course. And yeah, like I said, definitely things turned around. I I don't know. I don't know if it's like a spiritual thing or a mindset thing, or like I just kind of feel like the universe is really in our favor when we have that positive mindset, when we know that things are going to turn around and things are going to go our way. And when I think that way, all of a sudden it's like things start happening. Like I had somebody call me that wanted to add to their coverage. When, I had such a bad week last week, all of a sudden I got this client of mine calling me, "Oh yeah, my daughter wants to take out a policy on me." And it was a big one. I mean, I think it was like close to 2,000 in premium. And then another client called me. I think I mentioned on the call the other day where her policy had lapsed with a company that I used to do some business with, and she had no idea that it had even lapsed. And she called me concerned because she needs insurance. And that was another big one. I mean, that was another one that was over $100 a month. Those were just two clients of mine that, like I said, like I knew things were going to turn around, but it's almost like anytime I have a week like that where things are just bad, and if as long as I know that in my mind things will turn around, all of a sudden it's like things like that just kind of start happening. Where my clients are calling me wanting to add to their coverage, where I'm writing more and more business when I'm out in the field. I mean, this week, well, 2 weeks ago, I wrote just about 10,000 in premium. And then last week, I completely struck out, nothing, goose egg, completely zero production. And then this week, I've written over 8,500 in premium. So it's just crazy how things can turn around. But like I said, I mean, I just like and when I know, and I'm probably repeating myself from things I said last week, that we just can't let that one day or one bad week affect us. Rejection, we have to remember, is just part of the business. We can't let it affect us. We can't take it personally. Because sometimes it sucks when you go out there all day and all you're hearing is no, getting doors slammed in your face one after another. It's like nobody wants to talk to you. And it's funny because I remember last night, even me and you were texting a little bit, and you said, "Man, that was a heck of a comeback from last week." And I even responded. I said, "Yeah, well, I knew it wasn't me. Like that's just my mindset. I knew it wasn't me. Like I know I'm pretty damn good. I've been doing this a long time. I know what the hell I'm doing out there. I know that it's not me, but I think anybody could have that same mindset, that same attitude. If as long as you're prepared, you know what you're doing, you've looked at everything, you've learned everything, or learned as much as you can. Even new agents, fairly new to the business, as long as they do their part ahead of time with preparation, learning a presentation, and following those that have already done well. I've always said it's good to find a mentor, someone that's better than you that can help you get better.
I'd like to jump in on that for a second, not to interrupt your train of thought, but you knew it wasn't you, and I knew you were doing it right. Like I knew you were buying leads, I knew you were out working, I knew you were on calls and engaged in the community and other like-minded individuals. So I also knew that it wasn't you. I knew it was just a blip on the radar. But on the exact same side, it is the agent's fault if they aren't doing it the right way. Like sometimes just as much as we can manifest positivity and success, I think we can just as much create our own problems. Like imagine if you had last week And then this week you said to me, screw it. I don't want my leads. I'm not going to buy extra. I'm not even going to buy the ones that I have. I'm not going to work the appointment setting system. I'm just going to try something different. Screw the leads, screw the appointments, screw the Facebook leads. It was all of those faults. What would this week have looked like if you said that instead of what you did this week?
I don't know. I probably would have started my training at Target. I mean, honestly, I mean, if you're not doing the stuff that you need to be doing to succeed in this business, you're going to be looking for another job. You're going to be looking for another opportunity. I mean, you got to do your part. You got to, like I said, you got to prepare. You got to learn just what it takes to succeed from those that are better than you, and again, all the other necessary steps when it comes to ordering leads and being consistent with it, and never hitting the pause button. You just got to keep going. Even if you're taking a trip or something, like, it doesn't matter. Like, even if you're going on vacation, that doesn't mean to stop ordering leads. You just got to keep ordering leads, because I'm telling you, boy, you stop. And it, like I said, and that's kind of what happened to me that week, that week of Easter. I had a good week production wise, but then I just kind of lost track of time, and I didn't place a lead order on that Friday. Went out with my family on Good Friday, just kind of did some family stuff, and then the weekend, and then Easter, and then I just honestly, I mean, I was working leads, but I didn't have a whole lot of new stuff coming in. Was kind of scrapping, and that could be a reason why I didn't have as good of a week last week, because I hadn't placed that order until Monday, where then they're setting up my campaign on Monday, and then leads are not even coming in till like Wednesday, and they're coming in slowly. So, that lead order that I placed for 30 leads, it really had zero effect on any production. Well, it did have an effect on the zero production from last week, because I didn't place the order soon enough.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important as it is to be on a consistent direct mail order like most of us are. And if you're not, let's have a conversation about why that is. If you have the extra money to invest in your business, having a insurance toolkit Facebook order running in the background only improves the odds you're going to find more business. I put an order in and it's coming in very slowly because I only wanted it in my home county. And there's like 3 people and a cow that live around here that are on Facebook. And I had a Facebook lead call me yesterday. Like, if you can't ask for a better high intent lead than someone who's calling you saying, I saw your ad on Facebook and I need insurance. So if you've got extra money, run that campaign in the background in addition to your direct mail order, and you'll just increase the odds that you're going to write more business. Are you starting to see, Adam, that you're recognizing your numbers more often? Numbers as in, if you receive X amount of leads and sit on and or have X amount of appointments and you see a certain amount of people, that same amount of premium is going to be generated on a pretty statistical basis?
You know what? I mean, I've never really been one that, like, is super analytical, but I mean, I would say, just from doing the same stuff week in and week out, I mean, the numbers are kind of showing that. I would say I've been pretty consistent for a while now, on average, writing at least 5 or 6 thousand every week, and that is just working primarily just the 3 days out in the field. So, like I said, yeah, not super over analytical. I've never really liked to over analyze, but I just know that if I do my part when it comes to ordering the leads, that the numbers are going to work out. And that's kind of what's happening.
I want to throw a few objections your way because one of our agents called me yesterday, really communicative, really engaged. I think that's really leading to him writing more business. And he had a couple of door objections I'd be curious to get your thoughts on. Now, obviously, we can't get into every single home, but we're going to have to see situations where we need to overcome a few objections. When you get to the door, and let's just say you're door knocking a lead, you don't have an appointment, you're trying to fill a gap in your schedule, and the person says to you at the door, I don't remember filling out that card. That's not my handwriting. I didn't do that. How do you overcome that specific door objection?
I usually just say, well, I mean, evidently somebody sent this in for you. I mean, somebody must really care about you that they did this, because this is something that's pretty important, that's going to affect pretty much your entire family. So, I mean, who else could have done this? I mean, evidently somebody must have. Why don't we just go over it real quick? I mean, there's no obligation or anything like that. Let's just sit down, talk about it for 10 minutes, and then I'll be on my way.
Yeah, that's what I kind of said as well, is take the pressure off, use the no obligation, I'm just here to review it with you mindset. And I think people react confrontationally when they find themselves in a surprise sales situation. But when you take the pressure down, you're able to get into the home more often. I also saw an objection or a scenario online this week that had me thinking, people talking about affordability and that they couldn't afford a $10,000 policy. So is there a universal life policy that might be cheaper that I could show this potential client? How do you overcome the objection when you can tell the objection has something to do with price and affordability?
I pull out the Polish Falcon whole life product. Honestly, man, that thing is, I've been writing so much of that lately that just the rates are so good. I mean, it's crazy. But um, I mean, usually I just tell them something's better than not having anything at all. Why don't we just start you with at least a little something? I tell them, look, you're doing this for your family. And even though you can't afford a lot, uh, just your family knowing that you tried to at least do something to help them, they'll appreciate that. Like, if you don't do anything, that's how they're going to remember you, that you left them stuck with a $15,000 bill. But if you could at least do something, and I'll tell them too, a lot of these funeral homes, they might be willing to at least take like a down payment, and then the family at least could maybe pay it off, or as long as they can at least give them something up front. So, if you can at least do at least a little something, I think your family will appreciate that you were at least willing to try your best to be able to help them.
Well said. I'm going to circle back and we're going to close with some objections as well. Talking about negative people and how they can manifest negative situations, just the exact same way positivity can manifest positive situations, like people calling you and saying, I want to add insurance. You've dealt with a lot of agents, dealt with a lot of people in your 20 plus years in the business. Do you find that negative agents and negative people just as much manifest more negative problems and negative situations in their life?
Most definitely. I think so much of this is just mindset. And like I said, I mean, if you go out there with just a poor attitude, and you're negative, and you let it affect you, it's going to affect you. Uh, but I mean, I think that negative people can completely kill even a good culture. When if from like a manager standpoint, when you're trying to build something, even like, I mean, heck, I mean, I've even said before, like, I played a lot of sports back in the day. I loved playing baseball, and I was pretty good. I made all stars and all that stuff, and uh, but the longer I did it, the more competitive it got. I ended up with some coaches that just kind of took the fun out of the game. They almost took it too seriously. It wasn't fun, and it made me not want to play anymore. And I would say that even from a business perspective, I mean, there's organizations you could be surrounded by kind of the same sort of thing. If there's a lot of negativity, it takes the fun out of the game, makes it less enjoyable. And that was kind of my situation. I mean, going back to 2022, I mean, that was kind of what I was dealing with the whole year. I was not enjoying doing what I do. And it kind of took me taking a step back to get back out in the field, to like the ground floor, to get back to loving what I do. So, now I'm like there, now I'm feeling good about everything, and, kind of ready to, really move forward and make big things happen here. But I think that, you got to surround yourself by upbeat, positive people that are looking out for you. And want to see you succeed and do well, and that where the glass is always half full.
Absolutely. I was speaking to a mentor in the business over last weekend, I think it was. And I think his point he made to me is also completely true to everybody here, because as much as we're running an agency, you're also running your own personal business, your own personal agency. And he said, your responsibility, no matter what else is happening on in the background, is to keep the morale up. He's like, I don't care if leads don't come in for a month. I don't care if carriers cancel contracts. I don't care if you're dealing with debt, a size of debt you've never seen before. Your responsibility and leadership is to keep the morale up and keep the ship moving. So in your own personal business right now, if you're dealing with debt, chargebacks, cancellations, personal problems at home, some type of adversity that you didn't even think could be possible, at the minimum, your personal responsibility is to keep your morale up and to keep moving, putting one foot in front of the next, working 1 hour into the next. And before you know it, if you keep moving and keeping your morale up, it'll work itself out. I'm going to close with you on the last 2 minutes with some more objection conversation so that we can get some sales content built into our mindset talk today. Adam, when you encounter somebody, and maybe someone's going to be in this exact same situation today, wanting to write business on Friday, they're thinking to themselves, you told me to go work, I'm going to go work, and now I'm in this presentation, and the person gives me the bank objection. I need this sale, my confidence is low, my bank account is empty, I've got bills I need to pay, and I'm sitting in front of somebody and they say to me, I'm just going to mail in the payment, I don't feel comfortable giving you my bank account. How do you handle that objection?
Well, I tell them like it doesn't work that way. I wish I could let you just send it in, but that's just not how things work these days. I mean, what bills do you pay where you actually send in a payment these days? There's really not many. Uh, I usually just kind of leave it at that. There's really no other way to do it. It's that way or no way. I might mention that we do it as a convenience to them, because if they were to get sick and ended up in the hospital, people are thinking about their health, but they're not thinking about their insurance, and they could end up losing it. Uh, might not even be in good enough health to be able to get it again. So, I might bring that up, kind of paint that picture. But yeah, I'll try my hardest to overcome it. I had one yesterday. The lady was kind of throwing that at me, and honestly, it was kind of like I could just kind of tell it wasn't worth my time, anyways. So I got up and left. Sometimes you can tell if sometimes it's worth a fight, sometimes it's not. That was one. I kind of felt like, you know what? It doesn't matter. I can talk her into this, and she's going to cancel it next week anyways. So
yeah, sometimes people know they're going to charge back on you because they've charged back on enough agents in their adult life. They know they're not responsible enough. And your responsibility at that point is, if you can't overcome it, to get in front of somebody else that might actually be more of a beneficial type client. Our last objection or situation I want to throw your way so we can get a little sales content mixed in today is somebody encounters a situation today on Friday. They went out and worked, and the person says to them, I really like what you showed me, Adam. I think this is great. I know that I need it, but I need to wait until maybe June or July or sometime in the summer to get this. I've just got too many financial things going on today. Can you come back in a month or two and I'll definitely get the insurance?
yeah, I wish I could. We've had such a huge response, though. Like, we are only allowed one visit. So if we can't get it done today, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to help you. And honestly, I don't think that that's really the best decision for you, because I know right now you can get this. Nobody's promised tomorrow. We don't know if you're going to be in as good of health tomorrow as you are today. All I know is right now you can get this and you can be covered immediately. But tomorrow, next week, 2 months from now, we don't know for sure if you'll even be able to get it then. So if I were you, I don't think I would really want to go another day without having coverage if I knew that I could get covered today.
Do you find that if you level with people, stay in character and stay honest and stay yourself, you're able to move more people to action than being a fluff and fake with them?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, I'm always very straightforward and upfront, and yeah, I'm not sugarcoating anything. I mean, I am who I am on these calls in people's houses. I mean, I'm not, yeah, I'm not one that's going to try to try to sugarcoat anything.
And that leads me into the best conclusion I could think of on the fly. Be yourself today. Be yourself not only in the sense that you need to be yourself in the home, but be yourself in the sense that you know you need to do it if you need to do it. Don't disappoint yourself. Don't let yourself down. Don't fail yourself. Go out there today and end this week on an exclamation point. The most positive way you can, the most productive way you can, the most profitable way you can. Don't let yourself down today when you know that you need to make this happen.